Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of Do You Watch Anime? I'm the host, Adam Corky. Thank you for listening to the first episode. It's a show where I talk about anime with my friends, family, and guests, and because, I find my friends, family, and people very entertaining, and I, want to see if they watch anime or not, and we'll go from there. So
I mean, you should know the answer if they watch anime or not.
Yeah, but the audience doesn't know, obviously, and if you heard anything there, I am joined by my lovely fiance, Moonspellxcosplay.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
You know what? I'm doing all right. At the point of recording where we're at, we're getting ready for Fan Expo, which is only a few weeks away, and I still have to, first of all, figure out what the heck I'm wearing on all the days, because I'm doing a different cosplay for every day. I kind of have it a little bit figured out, but some things may not work out, so I have to figure out backup plans. And I also got to book photo shoots and do some wig styling. And, if you're a cosplayer going into any convention, you know that probably it's going to be a little bit chaotic going into it. So, especially because this is, the biggest con that we have in Canada. So, yeah, it's a little bit of a mess right now. But, we're getting through it. We'll figure it out. And, yeah, things are fine. Life is fine. The thing of from Community, when Donald Glover's character walks in the room and it's on fire. Yeah. That's how my life feels right now.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's how my life feels right now when it comes to the cosplay stuff. And we'll figure it out though. We'll figure it out.
Jesus. Oh my God. So, Moon, do you watch anime?
Yes, I do watch anime. I've been watching anime for a very long time. I am in my mid-20s right now, and I've been watching it honestly for as long as I can remember. If you grew up in Canada, there is a channel called YTV that I think a lot of people found their first anime through. They played all the big anime that was airing at that point, and that was getting English dubs. Everything from Pokemon and Sailor Moon and Inuyasha, Gundam Wing, Naruto. I think they had One Piece too.
Yep.
I didn't really watch a lot of One Piece.
That's where I found One Piece.
Full Metal Alchemist.
Yep.
Literally everything pretty much that had an anime that was coming out around that point, it was on there. Mm-hmm. Bleach, when it was coming out, Bleach was on there. Yep. There's an extensive list of everything, Metabots.
Yeah.
Metabots.
Yep,
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Metabots.
So many different iconic anime, and one of my favorites, Tokyo Mew Mew, or it was called Mew Mew Power.
Yeah. See, I didn't watch that. You were like, yeah, it's from the 90s, and I was like, it was on YTV.
No, it came out in the mid-20s.
Mid-20s, yeah. But I was like, I have never.
Not mid-20s,
or
mid-2000s.
There we go.
Yeah.
I was like, I have never seen this in my life. What is this? And you're like, yeah,
so
it's my childhood. And I'm like, where? I was like,
Mew
at this
Mew
point.
Style, Mew Mew Grace, Mew Mew Power in your face. No, seriously, there was a lot of anime that came on YTV, and honestly, I think that a lot of people can thank YTV and Teletoon.
Yeah.
Teletoon had some stuff too, like
I always
Card
forget
Captor.
about that. Yeah.
I definitely think that YTV a mystic adventure. The Card Captor was, instead of Card Captor Soccer, it was Card Captors.
Yeah.
But yeah, Teletoon didn't have as much anime as obviously YTV did, and I think YTV was definitely a lot more pivotal in terms of a lot of people getting into anime.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I mean, that was where I watched all of my anime, and that's really what got me into anime. Was it just coming on, because a lot of those shows, like for example, like Pokemon and Digimon, were like coming on with the other cartoons at the same time.
Yeah.
So it was just something that was just so, like, it was always on.
Mm-hmm. So growing up, there's an age-old debate. Were you a Pokemon person or were you a Digimon person?
That's
like,
not a fair question, because
yes,
I was both.
So was I, but like, did you prefer one growing up to the other, or was it like equally yes?
I don't know, because like at the time I was like, yeah, I love these. These are cool. Like, if you were to ask me now, I definitely have like an answer to the question now.
Yeah.
But like back in the day growing up, I just loved them both. I was like, that's really cool to have like a cool like animal companion-esque partner with you, and like they were different, right? Like one was like a digivized thing that like it was digitized in this little kind of almost like unit, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, and you use that to like transform them, and it was like, you know, it had a lot to do with like technology, and they went into like the digital world, which was really cool. And then like Pokemon was like, it was almost like it was like set in the regular world, but it just had these animal-esque things coexisting with people, whether you know, people had them as partners, whether they were just out in the wild. It was like regular animals, but just different. So I thought that they were really cool. I definitely think as a kid I leaned more into Pokemon, and as an adult I definitely say that Pokemon is more what I as much as I love Digimon still. I still love Digimon a lot. But Pokemon, I think if I had to pick, I mean, I also have 2 Pokemon tattoos. Yeah. I do not have a single Digimon tattoo yet. So yeah, I definitely would say I as a kid was a little bit more of a Pokemon person, and as an adult I'm definitely a lot more of a Pokemon person. Yeah. Also too, I find like, thinking about it now, because I had a lot of like Pokemon merch, there wasn't as much Digimon merch. No. I think Pokemon stuff was more accessible.
Yeah, 100%.
So I feel like that's also another reason that I was more of a Pokemon person, because it was easier to get things for Pokemon. I mean, you'd walk into a toy aisle and they had like so many different things you could buy. I still have this old toy, and it's a Pokeball. And you open it up, and it's like this electronic game, and you could catch Pokemon on it, and it makes all these different sounds. And it was like, diddle-loo-loo-loo, diddle-loo-loo-loo. I don't even know how to describe it, but if you had it, you know what I'm talking about. There was also a Pokedex version that
one of
went
my friends
with
had
that. There was a lot more like Pokemon toys opposed to Digimon. I think, honestly, I can only think of like, I think I had 2 Digimon toys.
Yeah, I had the little like action figures that came out with them. Like, they were like full on plastic, no articulation or anything, because, you know, the 90s. And
I mean, there were still some.
Yeah. There was like, I was really jealous of one of my friends because he had a Greymon, and it was like fully like, and it like transformed into
awesome.
like metal Greymon, and I was like, Mom, can I have that? And she's like, no. Like, straight up.
But yeah, I mean, like, I've been, you know, collecting Pokemon stuff since I was a kid. I literally have some Pokemon plushies that came out with the like original launch of the show. Like, I have this like massive Bulbasaur plushie that's probably like life-size version of Bulbasaur, and I also have this Pikachu that I literally have no.
It's haunted. It's haunted.
So the batteries have never been changed out in this thing. I don't even know how to get to the batteries, first of all. This thing still works, and it's worked for like almost 30 years.
And sometimes it just says things. Okay, so I would go, we had it by a lamp, okay? And so I went to turn off the lamp every night. And every night I did not touch this Pikachu. It was just on the table. The table did not shake. I turned off the lamp and would go, Pikachu. And I'm like, we need to get rid of this, because we're not actually, it's literally staring at me right now, but we're not actually going to get rid of it, because it's like,
And it's funny too because it was like Pikachu's older design,
Yeah.
so like Pikachu used to be a lot more like round
Mm-hmm.
looking. So it's like the old design. It's
Yeah.
so cute. I love it. It's literally just hanging on a shelf. Sometimes though it does go like Pikachu.
Yeah, and we're just like, oh, cool, great. All right, I see you're watching us. Great. God.
It's fine.
Speaking of old anime,
Mm-hmm.
one of your favorites, I hear, obviously, is Inuyasha.
Yes.
Why?
That was such a
Why?
direct question.
Why, God damn it?
I honestly, okay, so I know that we talked about like, you know, a lot of stuff coming on YTV and like during the day, and it was like playing with like the regular cartoons and stuff like that. I didn't even realize for the longest time that Pokemon like was an anime. The
Yeah.
first anime that I really watched that I was like, whoa, this is cool. Like this is an anime was Inuyasha. You know, and it was one of the ones that I probably shouldn't have been watching because
No.
I was quite young.
Yeah.
And I just I was one of those kids that like always fell asleep with the TV on all the time. So like I like to have background noise to fall asleep, and I always had YTV on. So I would, and I'm also have always been a night owl. So I would be up late and I would hear, I want to change the world. And I would just, I don't know. I watched it and I loved the designs and the characters and stuff like that. And then the story too was just, it was awesome. It was so cool. And I know that, you know, people have the great debate of dub versus sub. And I personally, I might get flack for this. I prefer to be a dub watcher.
I just lost 5 listeners right now. I'm kidding.
No, honestly, honestly, as
Yeah.
long as you're enjoying
Exactly.
anime, watch it however you want.
Exactly.
Right?
Who cares?
But I think that Inuyasha, especially for its time, because like I said, a lot of people, especially in the early 2000s, like late 90s, early 2000s, anime gets a really bad rap for some of their dubs.
Yeah.
I think that Inuyasha had such an incredible dub cast.
It's true.
I mean, there's so many iconic voices that, like, as soon as you hear them, you're like, oh my god, this character.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, this character. And even when those voice actors went on to do other things, you hear that character and you're like, this is, like these roles were, like, standouts
Yeah.
for these voice actors, right? And, like, you hear them, and they were so unique, and everyone was just so well cast. Like, it fit perfectly. Like, there was no voice... there was no voice to me that like felt off in a way. The only time that it did was when they replaced Kagome's voice actor for Final Act, but
Yeah.
that's because Kagome's original voice actor had retired. I think that's the reason.
I think, yeah, I don't know.
She had just like stopped voice acting for whatever reason that was, and they replaced her voice with another one that wasn't as it didn't fit
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Well, and also it's hard because you have like, you know, like 6 seasons and 4 movies where you have one voice, and then one season you have this other voice. I know Shishomaru's voice actor got replaced too for the last season just because he was so busy,
Oh,
but
wow.
his was a little bit more like similar to David Kay's
Yeah.
voice, so who voices Shishomaru and who voiced Shishomaru for up until that point, and then only didn't voice him in the final act. He came back in Yashahime, but which is the sequel series to Inuyasha. You know, so many of those voices are just like they help to really catapult these voice actors. And actually, it's great too because that cast, it was dubbed in Canada.
Yep.
Majority, if not all of the voice actors are Canadian, which is incredible. I mean, a lot of the Ocean, actually pretty much all of the Ocean Group dubs that came out all have like a Canadian cast. So there's a lot of anime that came out in the late 90s, early 2000s that was Ocean Group, and so many good voice actors from there, and so many iconic voices. Like, I think one of the last ones that came out that is not one that I've personally watched, but you have to have seen some stuff from it, even if you don't like anime. I mean, there's literally been trending sounds from it. Was Death Note.
Yeah.
Death Note was one of the last ones, that big anime
Yeah.
that Ocean Group did. I mean, think of how many, like, moments and clips had gone viral from that on like TikTok.
Yeah.
Of just like, this is my perfect victory.
God.
Like that was a huge audio.
Yeah.
Right? So that's right.
Some people can't look at chips the same anymore.
Yeah. No, seriously though, like that cast was, I'm pretty sure majority of them are Canadian. So that was one of the last, there was like a time period where a lot of stuff was being dubbed in Canada. Not as much anymore. A lot of it's being dubbed in either Texas or LA.
Yeah.
So not as much of it happens here. But I would love to see some more projects, like anime projects, be voiced out of Canada again. I think that would be really great, because I think that right now is one of the best times for voice actors in terms of the mass amount of talent that there is out there.
Yeah, it's insane.
There is so many. I know, once again, some people they don't even watch dubbed stuff, so they're probably like, why am I listening to this right now?
Yeah.
But seriously, there's so many voice actors right now, and who are so incredibly cast. Like, especially, like, you can watch a bunch of different anime, and you might hear a couple of the same voices between things, but you're not going to hear pretty much all the same voices on stuff, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
You know, there was a time period where you were basically hearing the same voices in different roles over and over again, which is fine. Honestly, a lot of those voice actors I love dearly, and they are legendary voice actors for a reason, and they all have so much range. But now you can go between watching different things, and you'll hear different voices and these are people from different backgrounds recording from different ways, like especially, recording virtually now too.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of voice actors have made home studios, and they're able to record in their homes now too. So like that's another thing as well, is you have a lot of voice actors who are now have the accessibility to be able to record from their homes if they don't live in Texas or LA. So I know that there's still some issues with that. I follow a lot of voice actors online, and I see that they're trying to make it more in person again, which has been hard on some of those voice actors who are remote voice actors. And I think if a job can be done virtually,
why not?
Why not, right? Yeah. So, no, I think there's, like I said, there's so many incredible voice actors out there right now. And, I literally, every time I listen to something, if I'm like, whoa, like that, holy crap, like that performance was incredible.
Yeah, it's almost like once a month to a week. We're like, holy shit.
People are just like performances, like people just keep like leveling things up. Like from My Hero, people are going beyond. It feels like they're going plus ultra. Yeah. Seriously, there's so many, like, when you look back at, like, best anime moments of the year with like voice cast and stuff like that, I feel like the list every year is getting longer and longer and
harder to pick.
Yes.
Like,
because people are throwing their all into things.
Yeah, it's not fair.
And it's cool because, like, you see the range of all these voice actors, and they can do so many things. And it's great when you hear a voice actor, and then like a voice actor, right? And then you watch something, and you don't even realize it's them until afterwards, and you see the credits, and you're like, huh?
Yeah, like
what?
The other week, Alejandro, we were like, oh my god, that's someone, and it was Alejandro playing just two different fucking characters. And I was like, I'm sorry, what?
One of the ones that like really sticks out in my head, it's not an anime, it's eventually going to be an anime, but Genshin Impact. They also have a lot of incredible voice talent, like so good. I was playing through one of the most recent Archon quests, and if you don't play Genshin, that's like the main story. And there's this character who is incredibly unhinged, and Adam and I are like, who is this? It sounded like Matt Mercer, honestly.
Yeah, straight up.
We thought it was Matt Mercer.
I was like, oh my god, that's so cool.
The way it was an insane performance, and we're like, whoa, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, we find out that it's Andrew Russell,
Yeah.
who voices Luca in Miraculous,
Yeah,
and also is the new voice of Jockin in Yashahime. I just had to tie it back to Inuyasha. But he's like done a bunch of other things, and I was like, "What?"
Just blew my goddamn mind.
I know he has range, but like I had no idea.
I would literally like every time he was on the screen during that like quest, I was like, my god.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, this is intense.
Yeah,
because the story's getting a lot more dark.
Yeah.
I feel like people just think Genshin Impact, ooh, cool, this fun gotcha game, whatever.
Can't believe this is free.
And yeah, there's some pretty dark things going on in the game, and
yeah, just a little bit.
Like where it's at right now, I'm like, there's a lot of unanswered things too that you're like, this added even more questions that need to be answered. But yeah, it was a crazy quest. It was I was not expecting the ending part of it too. I was like, whoa, okay.
I was like,
cool.
oh, okay. Oh, yeah. This is how it's going to be.
I'm excited to go on to the next region and see what's going to happen there. It looks like it could potentially be like the most intense playthrough for a region yet, just based off of like the things that we're kind of hearing from like leaks and stuff like that. And also too, it's like there's like a whole justice system, and there's like a court and stuff like that, so it seems like there could be like very crazy stuff going on in terms of that. But how do we get sidetracked talking about Genshin?
You started talking about voice actors.
Yeah, I was like, wait, are we supposed to be talking about anime? I apologize.
It's okay. Everything goes back to Genshin. I'm kidding.
In my heart, it does.
Exactly.
Obviously.
Yeah. So there's recently, not recently, a couple years since I watched it. There's been some, not really discourse, but more people coming out and being like, is it that good still? Inuyasha, I'm talking about.
Oh. I was like, what are you talking about here? I was like, well, okay.
Inuyasha. What do you say about that? That some people complain that there's too much filler. Some people complain that it's kind of got a weird premise. What do you think about that?
Okay, so I do agree it is long. It does take a long, like there's a lot of episodes. There's like I think 360 or something like that.
Jesus.
Like it's a lot.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'm not gonna lie. There's some arcs that I'm like, I can skip over kind of watching these and whatnot. Kind of in between partway through season 4 to like season 6 is where I'm like, it's those are my like least favorite stuff. Even though they introduce, spoiler alert, they introduce different kind of almost powers for the Tetsaiga that it's able to do, because up until like pretty much season 3 or 4, it's just basically Windscar.
Yeah.
And you don't get but there ends up being other powers associated with the Tetsaiga that you get, and like a little bit later on. So honestly, yeah, sure, you could cut out a lot of the stuff, but the manga's also quite long too. They pretty much adapted majority of the manga.
Yeah.
So
it's like, what, 26 volumes or something like that?
I'm pretty sure
that?
it's like 50-something.
Holy
yeah,
shit,
it's a lot.
Jesus.
I don't have it because I didn't even want to start it because I know it's a lot of volumes.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm going to look this up right
now.
Okay.
Yeah, because before you made me watch it in college, I hated it. Do you want to know why?
Why?
So when I was growing up,
56 volumes, by the way.
Holy shit, that's so much manga. That is so much. Oh my god, people cannot complain about the Monster of the Week stuff anymore because that's 56 volumes of goddamn manga. Good lord. Anyway, I hated it for the longest time.
Was it the Inuyasha and Kagome thing?
No, it wasn't that. I hadn't even watched it. And I hated it.
Why?
You know, because I had a bedtime of 9 p.m.
Oh, so you're just mad that you couldn't watch it?
No. Dragon Ball Z was at 8:30, so I could go to bed at 9. But I wanted to watch more Dragon Ball Z, but Inuyasha came on right after. And I was like, there's too much blood and gore. You can't watch this. And I was like, I just want... And Dragon Ball is equally violent.
Yeah,
as,
I was like,
I know,
what?
I know. And there was like a mature rating for Inuyasha. And I was so angry that I didn't have more Dragon Ball Z. Obviously.
So you took it out on Inuyasha.
So I took it out on Inuyasha,
Okay, cool.
obviously. Yeah. And I would get scared of it because it was for mature audiences. So anytime there was like an ad for it, I'd be like, ooh. Yeah,
Wow.
I know. I was really...
But you don't hate it anymore,
No,
right?
no, I love it. It's one of my favorite series ever. It's in my top 10.
Yeah, it's,
Absolutely.
it's... I say, like, of all time, it's definitely, like, one that I hold very close to my heart, and it's definitely, like, around the number 1 spot, at
Yeah.
least. You know, I would still say, if of all time, like, Inuyasha's definitely up there. For me, it's... Not only is it nostalgic, but I think it's also just a really great series, and I think it's
Absolutely.
got a lot of really good characters in it. I mean, look at the core group. Like there's so many. Also, too, at a time as a woman, at a time where a lot of anime, especially ones that were more geared towards like masculine or like men,
Yeah.
audience, like with the fighting and stuff like that in it. Most of the female characters were not like
A part of it.
strong.
Yeah, they weren't a part of the
I mean,
fight or
for
anything.
example, going back to Dragon Ball, love Bulma, but and that she is so like sidelined in terms
Yep.
of things, and basically just meant to be like a piece for people to look at. Same with Chi-Chi,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
So,
Hashtag Chi-Chi deserves better. God.
I mean, Sailor Moon obviously was one of the outliers
Yes.
of that because
Yes.
you know that was the whole intent of
Yeah.
it. But there was not a lot of shows that had like fighting and blood and stuff like that had strong female characters in it.
Yeah.
And I mean, Kagome's like, I can take care of myself, and she like puts Inuyasha in his place, literally.
Sit, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, look at Songo. Songo's
one of my
she's
favorite female characters
so freaking
ever.
cool,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, there's 2 of the most badass female characters in anime of that generation, right? So, and I think that really helped. You know, going forward, a lot of other anime to follow suit now. Things like Demon Slayer that have a lot of strong female characters in it. Things like Jujutsu Kaisen, which is one of my personal favorites right now. There is pretty much every single female character in that is
Absolute badass.
so fucking badass.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're swearing.
Yeah, we're fucking swearing. Yeah, it's fine.
Like I every time, like, it's so cool. It's so cool, and I'm really thankful for that. We have really well written, strong
Thank
female
God.
characters now, and you know, I think Inuyasha was one of the anime that was a part of that journey. So I don't think it's terrible. I do think it is long.
Yeah.
And like if I were to watch it now, I don't know if I would love it as much now because I'm not into as many long form anime.
Yeah, that's valid.
I think if something takes a really long time to start up, I don't know if I could really get into it. Just like I watched a little bit of One Piece as a kid, but
I
I
love
don't
One
think I
Piece.
could ever go and get into One Piece now
Yeah, that's valid.
because I mean, there's over 1,000 episodes, right?
Yep.
So, and, you know, and there's so many great things. Everyone's like, the story's awesome, though, and this and that. I'm like, I understand, but it's just so much to consume.
It is.
And
It's
don't
like a part-time job.
Yeah, I was like, I don't have the time or energy for that. Like, sure, it'll take me. I can do it in like, you know, small like little
Yeah.
sessions. But like at the same time, it's like I want to get caught up. If I'm
Yeah.
getting into something, I want to be able to like watch through it and like
Yeah.
catch up to it, and
Yeah.
like even if it takes me like a month or 2,
100%.
whatever. I want it to be able. I want to be able to catch
Yeah.
up to like that point,
Yeah.
and it not take like a year.
Yeah. I tend to like pick it up, watch, I don't know, like maybe an arc and then
Yeah.
drop it.
I think I would get bored almost watching the same thing over and over again.
Which is totally valid.
Especially if something's so long to get
100%.
there. Like, if I just had to sit and basically all my free time for watching anime went to One Piece, I couldn't.
And that's also why I pick it up and drop it, because I get busy with other anime.
Well, and there's so much.
And I know it's always going to be there.
I know, we were talking about, YTV. That's where basically all the anime that was coming out was airing on. But, like, there is so much anime coming out nowadays. It has gotten to be such a big thing. I mean, like, back in the day growing up, you had, like, a couple things to pick from, and, like, that was it. Like, I mean, sure, there was some other stuff that wasn't as popular, but, like, it wasn't as, like, present.
Do you remember the wrestling one that came on? The wrestling anime?
I don't think so, no.
Oh, it had, like, the character with the kind of shark head. I can't remember what that's called.
I'm sure if I saw a picture, I'd probably go, oh, yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, it just popped in my head. I don't know why.
But, yeah, now every single season, there is so much anime coming out.
Yeah.
You have to really, like, pick your, like, top couple that you want to try, especially if it's, like, new. If it's a new series, you're like, all right, I'm going to pick these two or three series, give them a try, hope I like them, and then not even to mention anything like that's returning, right? So it's like there's so much anime right now.
Well, like, I've tried to do, like, let's watch everything in the season and do a video. I cannot do it. I can't. There's so much.
Yeah.
And I respect for, like, the YouTubers who do it, and, like, I respect the hell out of you. But, like that's
God?
not my... Yeah, exactly. Like, Gigok, Mother's Basement, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
I respect the hell at what they do, but I can't do it because that's not my full-time job. If it was my full-time job, absolutely. But I got a life. I am tired.
There's so many hours. There's only so many hours in a day,
exactly,
right?
Exactly.
And, also, too, there is, like, I mean, as much as there's a lot of really good stuff coming out right now, there's also a lot of really bad stuff coming out right now, too. It's almost overwhelming how much anime is coming out right now, and it's hard to even, like, decide and see, like, what you want to, pick up and watch. I mean, it's good if you've already started something and it's just like another season or another core of something, and so you're able to just like go, okay, I like this, so I'm gonna watch this every whatever day of the week it comes out. And if it's something new, you're like, you could be interested in 5 different shows, and you're like, I cannot watch all 5 of these. Maybe I'll try out 2 and see where that goes. But I don't have the time or energy to be able to watch all of these. So I remember, was it last fall was like an insane anime
that was
season?
Like Chainsaw Man era,
that was like, there was so much going on then. Even we couldn't even keep up with Chainsaw Man.
Nope.
Well, to be fair, we did kind of sidetrack it a little bit because I haven't read the manga, but Adam has, and he has explained a lot of what's going on. Because I've asked. Chainsaw Man's one that I don't mind spoilers for, in terms of like manga stuff. But he's kind of explained a lot of what's going on, and I've kind of looked into it myself. So I was like, I'm okay if we wait and kind of just like watch this through in chunks. So we would do like 4 or 5 episodes in like a sitting, and then we wait a couple more weeks, and then wait for another 3-4 episodes, and then do it kind of in like little segments. Because we already knew. But we were also lucky too last year because we went to New York Comic Con last year. We were incredibly lucky that we got to see the first episode of Chainsaw Man.
Oh my God, that was
dubbed
so
like 3 weeks before it came out.
That was so
with the
cool.
dub cast in the room. It was incredible. So it was right before the sub was coming out. I think the sub was coming out in like a week. And then the dub was coming out in like 3 weeks. And just seeing the first episode, I was like, whoa, this is so cool.
I legit cried.
I understand this is going to be an anime that definitely a lot of people who aren't even anime fans, I think, are going to get into anime through this, or they're gonna see this and they're gonna want to get into anime. I mean, look at our friends Sari and Reed. I mean, Reed is more into anime than Sari, but like literally they were like, oh yeah, you guys should watch Chainsaw Man. And after like everybody was like recommending it to them, they sat and watched it, and it was after the season was done, and they finished it in like 2 days.
2 days.
And they were like, oh my gosh, wow. And I know Reed's like, I'm really selective when it comes to anime, because like, you know, it depends on the story and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, no, that's fair. And now they're both doing Chainsaw Man cosplays. Right? So it's cool, because, you know, I love seeing people getting into anime who are not usually into anime, or when people who are not usually into anime, when they go, oh yeah, I actually really like this series, I'm like, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
it's like, yes.
As somebody who's been watching anime
One
since they
of
were
us.
they were a wee little bean.
Yeah.
I always love seeing people get into it, because it makes my heart happy. Just seeing people getting into it, because I think that it's such a cool medium.
Yeah.
And I think that there's so much awesome stuff that can be done with it. So yeah, I animation in general is just it's like my favorite medium.
Literally,
I think when it comes to like film and television, it's so cool, and you can do so many cool things with it.
Yeah.
Visually, that you could never do, you know, with CGI and stuff like that. It just doesn't translate the same for some of the stuff, which that's okay. That's okay. That's okay if some things stay in animation form, right?
Yeah,
so
we don't talk about the last Airbender movie.
yeah, or the Dragon Ball movie.
Oh God! As a teenager,
did you like it?
No.
Okay.
As a teenager, I was so excited, because I was like, "Yo, Dragon Ball movie! Whoa!" And then, yeah.
As somebody who Dragon Ball was another one of my my first anime, that and Dragon Ball Z. I was pretty excited for the movie. I was like, whoa, this is neat.
Yeah.
I saw the trailer. I was like, I will pass.
I rented it.
Oh no, why would you waste money on it?
I spent $2 to rent it from my video store in like my tiny town.
You know, I want to say I actually have the luxury of saying I have never seen Dragon Ball, the Dragon Ball movie, or the Last Airbender, like the Avatar movie. I've never seen them.
You've never seen it?
I've never seen them. I have been fortunate enough to never have to waste my time.
I've watched both.
Them.
It's bad.
Yeah, I know. I've seen clips. I've seen trailers, and God. I'm like, this is not it.
Yeah, no.
So I just have not watched them. I will say though, I did watch the live action Netflix adaptation of Death Note.
Oh yeah,
I haven't watched the regular Death Note, but I've watched that.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
because I was like, oh yeah, okay, this looks like it'll be okay. The trailer looked good.
Yeah, the trailer looked promising.
Yeah.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe was as Ryuk was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He was probably the best part of that. Like,
I just think the script was really bad.
Oh yeah,
and the direction was really bad. I don't blame the actors. I think that the casting was, for the most part, was pretty good.
I just don't like we made a white
yes,
you know,
correct.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, it's just so and the acting wasn't that good either.
Yeah, but I think that's also because of the script and the direction. Overall, it was just. I don't think it was a good reflection on anybody who was a part of that project.
Yeah, because I love Death Note.
Yeah.
It was one of the first anime I that got me back into anime, and I literally felt so tired afterwards. Like, it put me to sleep. It was so fucking boring.
Yeah, I remember it being pretty slow at one point, and I was like,
can we shut this off? Like, you've made it to the middle of the episode. Thank you so much. Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, if you're listening to this, thank you so much. This has been such a fun time recording these so far, and it keeps getting better. Every episode keeps getting better and better, and I cannot wait for more. And if you would like to support the show and my videos and myself in general, you can go to my Ko-fi. The address is ko-fi.com/Adam Corky. There's also going to be a link in the description where you are right now listening, and also in my link tree, in my Instagram, all that fun stuff if you want to just do it that way. But if you want to support the show, you'll get a little shout out on the show in this little segment here. And yeah, just leave your name so I can shout you out. Some people don't leave their name. That's fine. And I just appreciate every little bit that comes my way and just how much you guys have supported me. And before I get carried away, that's ko-fi.com/Adam Corky. And yeah, let's get back to the episode.
Okay, so I actually have a question for you.
Oh, you have a question for me?
Yeah, I have a question for you. So I know we were talking about a lot of different anime coming out in the last couple years. What is your favorite underrated anime that's come out? In the past
well, that's easy. I did a video on it. It's a place further than the universe, and it is about.
When didn't that come out in 2017?
No, 2012. No, not 2012. 2017. What do you mean the past couple of years?
I'm meaning within 2017. Okay, fine. Well,
does that count? What counts?
I would say 5 years.
5 years. Okay.
That's a little bit out of that, I'd say.
Yeah, it's fine. That's that's hard. That's really hard.
I'm thinking pretty much I know that does kind of hit in the last, couple years, but I'm thinking a little bit sooner.
Yeah.
But that is a good answer.
Yeah.
That was an incredible anime.
Yeah, that's literally one of my favorite anime ever. I gotta think. I'll just list off a couple because I can't pick one.
Yeah.
Your senpai is annoying was. I was not expecting it to be so good.
I
so
love that. Yeah,
cute.
It was so cute.
It was just lovely.
Yeah. Once again, great casting too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think the voice cast was really, really well done for that.
Absolutely. Underrated. I'm just trying to think because the ones that are coming to my mind are not underrated. So it's
I have two for me.
You have two?
Yeah.
Okay, you can go ahead while I think.
So the most recent one is one that I actually, both of them I will scream from the rooftops that everyone should watch.
Oh yeah, I think I know one of them.
Just because I think that they are so good. So the first one is the most recent one, and it's on Netflix, and it's called Romantic Killer. And I had heard beforehand, and it came out last October. I had heard beforehand that the manga was apparently really, really funny, and that the Viz got the licensing for it, and it's a very short series. It's only one season and 4 volumes of manga. But Viz had just got the licensing, and the first volume I think was out last October, and then at the very end of the month was when the anime came out, which was the entirety of the show. It wasn't coming out weekly or anything like that. It was just all the episodes were out on Netflix, and it was dubbed at the same time too, which was awesome. And so I heard it was really funny and watched it, the trailer, and I was like, this looks like it's gonna be really good. And then when the voice cast came out for it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is stacked. So many incredible voice actors on here. Watched it, I was expecting it to be funny. I didn't think it was gonna be as funny as it was. It's so hilarious.
Yeah, a lot of comedy anime does not translate to English dub a lot, but that
it was so good.
That I cannot get. I literally went in with zero expectations, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
And honestly, just based off the premise, you think it's gonna, be hit all these different tropes, and it kind of starts out that way, but it turns into its own thing, and things that you expect to happen or you think are gonna happen or don't actually, that's not how it is, or ways that you expect the character is gonna be is actually not. And then even later on in the series, one of the characters, you find out why they act the way that they do, and then you see the little you put together the little moments of why they acted this way in this situation. You're like, oh my gosh, the end actually takes a pretty dark turn.
So dark.
The last couple episodes are
out not out of nowhere, but it just it goes
from comedy to not.
Yeah.
It gets pretty dark, but it's still very, very good. It was incredible, and I think it's so good. I recommend it to so many people to watch it, and I'm like, you need to watch it. It's so funny. Also, Anzu's faces are also
perfect.
too, just her in general. I love her.
Yeah, she's great.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
I relate to her with her 3 greatest loves, with chocolate, video games, and her cat. Like, those are her 3 greatest loves. Same girl. Sorry, Adam.
Well, it's fine. It's fine. I've accepted my fate.
And honestly, if like I had Riri come into my life, that's the little like magician thing. It almost looks like Winnie the Pooh with like a magician hat.
And he looks like a potato. They look like a potato. Sorry.
Yeah, they look like a potato.
Yeah.
But they kind of just look like Winnie the Pooh and a potato. If I had a Riri come into my life and act that same way, I would act the same way.
Yeah.
I'd be
smacks
so
the shit
mad.
out of them.
Yeah.
I'd be like, absolutely.
Yeah.
The shit they say is like so off. like calling her out like 24/7.
I know. So I'm like, yeah, Anzu, like, same. The other one, other than Romantic Killer, is one that came out in 2021, I think. Maybe it was 2020. Those years kind of blend together.
Yeah.
Vivi.
Okay, yeah.
It's kind of a hard premise to explain.
Yeah.
But it's basically this AI robot who wants to be almost like an idol and sing on the main stage of this park that it's in. And that's kind of like the little side premise almost, because Vivi's goal is to get on the main stage and to sing at this park. And you know, that's part of the journey, but the biggest part of the journey is the fact that in 100 years from the start of the anime, AI and robots are basically going to take over and completely destroy humanity and kill everybody. And for some reason, Vivi's the only one who is able to help stop it. For some reason in the future, Vivi is not a part of the AI that turn it on everybody. So there is another robot that has to go back in time and recruit Vivi to go on this 100-year-long journey to hopefully go to these important points in time where things have happened and stop this from happening to humanity in 100 years. So every couple episodes it like jumps like 10-15 years. So like I said, there's like a subplot of like Vivi getting on the main stage and like being an idol and wanting to sing and stuff like that, because she's like a singing AI robot. But she also kicks butt, and the animation is incredible.
The fight choreography,
oh my gosh,
it's Wit Studio at its best. Oh my god.
Yeah I know. I was just like, whoa, like watching it.
Yeah.
Animation, incredible. The music,
oh my god,
sometimes it's heart-wrenching.
It is,
especially
yeah.
the last song in the show.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, I listen to it quite often. I have it on my playlist, and it's so sad, like especially visually when you're watching what's going on along with the song. I'm like, whoa, it's like I said, it's very emotional. But yeah, so highly recommend those two if you haven't watched them. Vivi's on Vivi Florentine Song is on Crunchyroll, and Romantic Killer is on Netflix. So if you have either of those, you can go and watch them there. And do you have an answer?
Yeah, I have another
answer?
It's Blue Period. Not a lot of people are still talking about it. I was gonna say Comey, but like everyone loves Comey.
I was like, Comey's not underrated.
No, I'll say Blue Period because god damn it, because it's just it's so good, and like it. So basically, the story is it follows a kind of like not a degenerate, but he looks like he could kick your ass and hangs around with some dumb people, but like he's super smart. And he walks into the art room where he has art class, and he sees this oil painting by one of his senpais, and just falls, and he's captivated by this oil painting, and he makes it his mission to go to art school. And by the end of the season, I'm not going to spoil it because it's about 2 or 3 years old. It's about 2 years old. But at the end, I was just in full tears because it was just, you see how much work he puts in, and it's just like a nice, like, yeah.
You know what anime I almost thought you were going to say when you started talking about the premise? I thought you were going to say Nagatoro.
No, that's not underrated.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, I don't find a lot of people who like really love it.
Yeah.
Like I see people online talking about it, but like
Yeah.
I don't find a lot of people who like have said that they
Well, it's just
really
like
love
Uzuki.
it.
Uzuki
Yeah.
gets made fun of all the
I
time.
know.
And I'm like, yeah, sucks, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't love it at all.
Just like Rent a Girlfriend.
Shut up. We don't.
That one-
That is a love-hate relationship.
It's yeah. I know it's not. The story's not the best.
No.
It could be significantly better.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean I don't enjoy it.
No, I know. It's it's literally, I'm watching a flaming garbage pile, and I can't stop looking
It's just
at it.
such a slow burn.
It's a bit more than a slow
I
burn.
know.
It's still going.
I know.
We're almost 300 chapters in. And nothing.
I know. Well, there's been a little bit of progress.
A little bit, but like not inches. Not even inches. Millimeters for people who are Canadian and British. Yeah. Also, don't Google underrated anime, because I Googled underrated anime while you were talking, and it came up with like Cowboy Bebop, and I'm like, nope, not.
You're like, what do you mean?
That is critically acclaimed to be one of the best anime of all time. So,
Yeah.
not very underrated.
Yeah.
Speaking of what I think personally is underrated, and is probably either my second or third favorite anime of all time, is Fruits Basket.
Yes.
You watched the first one.
Yeah,
the first
that was
iteration.
that was one of the first ones I watched when it when it came out.
Don't
way
even
back in the
remember
day.
that.
They made it a little bit more comedic and stuff like that. I really loved that they kept the English cast.
Yeah, that's really cool.
For a lot of the characters and brought them back for the remake.
Oh, that's so fucking cool.
Fruits Basket has such a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of my favorite anime of all time, and not just for nostalgic reasons, but also like story-wise. Like the new anime just makes me sob. I'm literally sitting here getting teary-eyed.
Yeah, I can confirm she is.
About like how good it is and how good of a story it is, and Toru is just such an amazing main character.
Absolutely.
I know that a lot of people are like, oh, like she's not really well written. Oh, like she doesn't really have much substance.
And then I ask, what characters do you like?
I'm like, did you not watch the third season where it goes into her backstory and why she is the way that she is?
That third season is gorgeous.
I love the story so much, and getting to see the different, the different relationships that Toru has with the different characters in the story.
It's just beautiful.
It's great because no one is the same.
No.
Yet she is such a healing character for everybody that she touches. So she's just such a wonderful inspiration. I literally, as a kid, I looked up to her. But yeah, so I love it so much. I adore it. It has such a special place in my heart. It makes me cry. I've literally watched. Can you stop rubbing on the cord, please? Thank you.
Sorry. Oh God. Casper, I swear to God. There we go. Sorry, hold on.
But Fruits Basket.
Yes.
It makes me so emotional. I have watched the final 5 minutes of the anime so many times over, and I bawl every single time.
Yep.
It's
probably my most rewatched anime besides My Hero, obviously, but I think I've probably rewatched it like 4 or 5 times at this point.
I also too. It's another one of those anime that like rewatching it, you still get so much out of it because you pick up all these things that like you didn't get in the first go around, and you're like, oh my gosh, this, all these little like hints and like stuff to like things that get revealed later on, and like especially like things to different character stories and like why they act the way that they do, or like, I
will say this with my whole heart, and I will. I don't know if I'll get flack for it or not. Who knows? Who knows if it's a hot take? I don't know. There's not a lot of Fruits Basket discourse. I think that the character of Akito is one of the best written characters I have ever seen.
Yeah.
Like arc-wise,
yes.
Like goes from absolutely despicable to like kind of a.
They're working on it.
They're working on it. Yeah, exactly. You know? And like, I remember just hating them so much.
It's funny too because like watching it, I also had read the manga, so like I knew what was coming up in the story and stuff like that, and Adam had not. So getting to different points of the story and just looking over at him and seeing his face, his reactions to different moments, it was great. There were some moments where it just made me laugh because he was just like so flabbergasted that something had just happened, and I was like, yeah, isn't that crazy? Like in the 3rd season, there is a big pivotal moment that happens, and when it happens, I still remember the look on your face when
I think I know what you're
when the
talking
moment
about.
is happening.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, hand reach out, and then thing happens.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what?
And the episode ends, and I'm like, I'm sorry. No. God.
Yeah. I was laughing, but I was also too inside. I was emotional because I was like, I don't want to see this. Seeing this animated is making me sad.
Yeah.
But at the same time, looking at Adam's face and the way he's reacting is helping soothe the pain.
Great. Thank you. God. I just love Fruits Basket.
It's so good.
It's so good.
I'm really happy we're getting to meet Laura Bailey
this
year, who is the voice of
Very
Toru
excited.
Honda. She also, if we want to talk about incredible voice actors,
oh my God,
she has so much range.
Yeah.
Insane amount of range. I'm really looking forward to meeting her. What are you laughing about?
I just came up with a stupid joke in my head.
What?
I was like, yeah, she has so much range. She's like Home on the Range, like the Disney movie.
Boo.
That was bad.
Very.
That was dumb. Anyway, she has so much range.
Yeah.
And that's how Adam fucks up his first episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
Casper, do you like anime?
Do you have any other questions?
Do I have any? Let me think.
Letting you think. Oh no, that's a bad idea.
Okay, I swear to God. Well, thank you so much for being. Well, thank you so much for being on the first episode of the podcast. Where can the people find you?
If you want to follow or check out my social media channels, it is Moonspellxcosplay on both Instagram and on TikTok. So, if you want to follow me there or check out my page, feel free. If not, that's cool too. Thanks for listening this far, at least. And
all right, guys, thank you so much for your listening, and subscribe to Spotify. I don't know how to use it yet, but follow me, follow the podcast, and we come out with episodes
whenever.
I'm thinking every other week for now, based on how many episodes are in the back room. What the fuck did I just say?
Why?
Based on how many episodes I have recorded. it depends. So I will update on my Instagram, which is Corky Cosplays. You can follow me on YouTube where I don't post. I'm kidding. But at this point, I will have a video out announcing this podcast. So if you came from there, thank you. If you haven't, please watch the video. Please. Anyway, love you. Bye.